NBA, from short-term contract to Bulls Dominator. Like, share and subscribe. Episode 1, Chicago, United States. October 26, 2008. The NBA regular season is about to begin. This year's Chicago Bulls will change the trend of previous years, and they will rise in the future. In June, at the draft held at Madison Square Garden, he won the top signing Derrick Rose, a graduate of the University of Memphis. Scouting reports and player physical tests give various data of perversion. The ability to change direction and break through and cut inside has entered the no man's land. Superb ball handling skills, the league deserves to be the top point guard. Amazingly fast, explosive, and able to use speed and power to open the way and go straight to the basket. There's also incredible physical coordination in the air, and you can always hit some breathtaking fairy balls. Outstanding talent, broad vision, excellent sense of fast attack. The four big words, top point guard, are deeply engraved in the minds of Bulls management. They did not hesitate to select Derrick Rose and sign him as their subordinate. Windy City Rose officially start his NBA journey. It begins the moment Windy City Rose settles in Chicago. Behind the halo, a silly big man from the Eastern Dragon Kingdom joined the Chicago Bulls with Rose. The difference is that Rose is a gem that Bulls management managed to get. This silly big player from the Dragon Kingdom, no one noticed, and he couldn't attract the attention of others. His name is Qin Yang. Even the physical test report of joining the Chicago Bulls is a simple record. Who cares about the physical examination report of a short-term worker? At least Bulls management didn't have the time and no one wanted to take a closer look. The management's thoughts are all on the champion Rose. With Rose as the core of the team, with Rose as the cornerstone of the team. The physical examination staff threw a report in front of Qin Yang, not bothering to take another look. Okay, your physical test data came out. I can only say that it is too ordinary, there is nothing to be desired. But considering that we got Derrick, the inside players need to be strengthened a little, and if you want, you can still sign you on a 10-day short-term contract. As for whether you want it or not, it depends on your personal wishes. After Walker, who was in charge of the physical examination report, finished speaking, he no longer took care of Qin Yang. Qin Yang looked at his physical test data and showed a wry smile. In fact, he has no interest in playing, just grew tall, plus his parents have been cultivated since childhood, and he really doesn't know what to do if he doesn't do this. Plus there is no culture, so I can only go to the electronics factory to make screws. The supervisor who punched the screw saw Qin Yang and immediately threw him out. Threatening to punch screws need to stand, Qin Yang is too tall, standing there is not strong, so he doesn't want to. There was no way. Qin Yang continued to walk outside, participate in some commercial basketball games, and earn some pocket money. Otherwise, even food and clothing will not be solved. Speaking of appearing in Chicago, it was Qin Yang who crossed over. His year is 2021, and the current timeline is 2008. Half a month back in Chicago, he gradually adapted to the environment. The predecessor is also called Qin Yang, who plays in the NBDL Development League. His lifelong dream is to enter the NBA, and Qin Yang still wants to play basketball for a living. I came to the Bulls for a tryout with apprehension, and after the physical test, I agreed to sign him for 10 days. That is, the so-called short-term work, the line will continue to fight, if not, the salary will be paid and get out. The NBA is so cruel. You can't, the big players will push you down. Okay, thank you, Mr. Walker, I agreed to sign you on a 10-day short-term contract. Qin Yang was about to starve to death. If you don't look for a job again, you really have nothing to eat. The predecessor Qin Yang's family was poor, and it is reported that his parents were smuggled to Chicago. Settled in this international metropolis, has not been mixed with the individual, the lowest working masses. Okay, I'll report tomorrow, I'll talk to the team manager. Walker responded and disappeared from Qin Yang's sight. Looking down at his physical test report, it is indeed very ordinary. At least in the NBA league, Qin Yang's physical measurement data cannot attract the attention of various teams. Height, 208 centimeters, weight, 99 kilograms, arm span, 230 centimeters, bench press, 70 kilograms, 3 times, standing height, 62.3 centimeters, running high, 74.6 cm. His report, put in the NBA, will be crushed in minutes. Forget it, it's good to have a job, what else to ask for, you can buy something to eat when you have money. Qin Yang has no hobbies, his biggest hobby is to eat snacks, or to be in a daze at the sky. When he was a child, everyone called him stupid and big. Part of the reason is that they grow taller, and classmates like to call them that. On the other hand, Qin Yang not only grew tall, but also loved to be in a daze. At school, he had 2 nicknames. Silly Big, Natural Stay. These 2 nicknames, all the way through Chicago, accompanied him. Nima, people are more popular than dead. Natural Stay? In Kuriko's basketball, Atsushi Shiera is 2, and he also likes to eat snacks. And like me, 208 centimeters tall, 99 kilograms weight, type O blood, Libra, if only I were Atsushi Zun, with his heaven-defying basketball talent. What NBA, what Olympics, is not yet minutes by Lao Tzu. Ding, before Qin Yang finished muttering, a crisp electronic synthesis sound suddenly sounded in his ears. As a future person who has crossed from 2021, this crisp electronic synthesis, Qin Yang is very familiar with System? Congratulations to the host for binding the Super God playing system and giving the host Atsushi Zun character card. It's coming, it's coming. It came on a colorful, auspicious cloud. The system is finally here, wait until the flowers are all thanked, you know? Qin Yang hurriedly urged his thoughts, and the system's attribute board was opened. Immediately afterwards, a purple light flashed, and a role-playing card appeared in his spiritual sense. On the card, a comic book character is engraved. The god-level 5th position of the miracle generation, Atsushi Zun. A talented madman who claims to be able to go from 1 defense to 5. He loves snacking and is in a daze, and has no interest in basketball. Usually he doesn't have much motivation, and only when he ties his hair up, he will play seriously. And Atsushi Zihara, who tied his hair, will be the ultimate nightmare for every opponent. Ask the host to use the Atsushi Zun role-playing card, and then the host will be provided with Atsushi Zun exclusive items. Okay. Qin Yang hurriedly responded, and then he saw that some props appeared in the system package. And these props are all closely related to playing Atsushi Zun. Purple flowing hairstyle. Generation of Wonders exclusive number 9 jersey. There are also various small snacks that Atsushi Shiera loves to eat. Motto, snacks are justice. These items are exchanged by the system to the real world. In an instant, Qin Yang's hairstyle changed into Zun Dun's purple flowing long hair, and he also gave away a few head ropes. It's the ultimate nightmare for teams to tie your hair up with a tie rope when you're ready to play seriously. Miracle Generation is exclusive to Atsushi Shihara's number 9 jersey. After looking at all kinds of snacks, I still like to eat them. The system takes care of itself, and the snacks are all found. While thanking the system, Qin Yang changed into a purple flowing hairstyle and the number 9 jersey of Miracle Generation. A moment later. A series of system prompt tones, madness sounded in Qin Yang's mind. Episode 2. Congratulations to the host for reaching 10% similarity with Atsushi Zun, improving physical fitness and personal ball skills, and activating the skill, Mad Demon Block. Congratulations to the host for reaching 20% similarity with Atsushi Zun, improving physical fitness and personal ball skills, and activating skills, Tenjin Rebound. Congratulations to the host for reaching 30% similarity with Atsushi Zun, improving physical fitness and personal ball skills, and activating characteristics, the nerve reflex of physical ability. Congratulations to the host for reaching 40% similarity with Atsushi Zun, improving physical abilities and nerve reflexes, and activating skills, Forbidden Zone Absolute Defense. Congratulations to the host for reaching 50% similarity with Atsushi Zun, improving physical abilities and nerve reflexes, and activating the skill, Iron Hammer of Destruction. This wave of unprepared prompts directly stunned Qin Yang. He knew that this time it was stable. Super God plays the system, Atsushi Shiera of Miracle Generation. The similarity suddenly dried up to 50%, isn't this stable? With such perverted talent to join the Chicago Bulls. Still need to get tangled? Do you still need to hesitate? Obviously none of them are needed. 4 delicious snacks, for a lot of dollar bills, it's done. However, there was one point that made Qin Yang very throbbing. His playing similarity boosts Genema fast. It was 50% all of a sudden, and the impression did not seem to be so fast. He thought about it and was immediately relieved. The reason why the similarity has increased quickly is because his own template is very similar to Atsushi Zun. Love to be in a daze and love to eat snacks. I have no interest in playing basketball, I just grow tall, and I don't have to do it. The height and weight are all the same. Even the constellation and blood type coincide with Atsushi Zun. It can be said that Qin Yang's body was born to play Zun Dun. Perhaps this is a providence. Steady. This is completely stable. Qin Yang collected his excitement and did not go home at the first time. Instead, feel the explosive power from Atsushi Zun in the trial arena. I don't know if I don't feel it, but I am suddenly shocked when I feel it. Shooting the basketball, Qin Yang jumped, bounced super fiercely. This is not himself. This is not his previous self at all. Running high is beyond his imagination. Boom. The basketball in his hand was heavily dunked into the basket by Qin Yang. Is this Atsushi Shihara's Hammer of Destruction? Qin Yang secretly thought, Nema's powerful slam dunk. Try to ask the entire NBA league, who can stop him? O'Neal's dead fat man can't do it either. System, help me open the host property board. The host property board has been opened, please look at the host. In front of Qin Yang's eyes, an attribute plate with a dazzling purple color appeared. Host, Qin Yang. Age, 20 years old. Physical confrontation, 110, NBA player average is 85. Running speed, 90, NBA player average is 85. Physical ceiling, 130, the maximum limit for NBA players is 115, there is no shortage of Kobe's physical monsters. Bounce force, 90, NBA player average is 75. Lag, 80, NBA player average is 65. Ball quotient ability to read the game, 100, NBA player average is 70. Possesses skills, Mad Demon Block, Celestial Rebound, Absolute Defense of the Restricted Area, Iron Hammer of Destruction. After reading the host attribute plate, Qin Yang fell into deep thought. This is to compare their own attribute values with NBA players. Everything else is fine, as far as the upper limit of physical fitness is concerned, the description is more obscure. Because in the NBA league, there are still many physical monsters. The first one has to say Kobe. Kobe Bryant is a physical monster who never feels tired when he plays. Passionate and motivated. This is inseparable from his competitiveness and paranoia. Secondly, Kobe is still a training maniac, and after years of clock and training, he has long trained Kobe into a man of steel. This guy is a ruthless character, and every defender has a headache when he meets him. Yes, my attribute value is generally higher than that of NBA players, so it's fun to play. Qin Yang grinned. Sports competition, and playing games is a truth. No one wants to be abused when they come up, normal buddies prefer to abuse others. Oh. Shit, what about the stupid big guy just now? Did you see him? Where did it run? At this moment, the physical walker returned. Qin Yang's back was facing him, so that he did not recognize Qin Yang himself for a while. Because at this moment, Qin Yang has changed into the number 9 jersey of the Miracle Generation, and he also has long flowing purple hair. Walker subconsciously thought that this guy was someone else, not Qin Yang. Episode 3, Mr. Walker, are you looking for me? Qin Yang turned his face when he heard the sound, and his facial features were still his own. Oh my god. You. How did you become like this? Walker looked at Qin Yang in amazement. After a while, Qin Yang completely changed. What the heck? This guy likes cross-dressing? Where do you go and bring your own wig and jersey? Walker shook his head and said, forget it, don't talk nonsense, we urgently need to sign an inside player, and the 08-09 regular season is about to start. The inside player was going to play the Dungadin guy, but he sprained his ankle as soon as he was traded, and there are 2 days to go before the regular season of the new season. So Team General Manager Foreman, let me take you over. Dungadin probably needs to recuperate at home for a week. Within this week, you will appear in place of that guy from Den, no problem, right? After Walker finished speaking, he waved his hand. Let's go, take you to the General Manager Foreman, since you are a short-term player, we will immediately settle your salary, and then you can play on the field. The Bulls used dead horses as live horse doctors, and did not take the inside line seriously. Dingouden, who was completely traded, was accidentally injured and there was no suitable person on the team. Simply sign Qin Yang, a short-term worker, and make do with it for a while. When Derngood can play on the field, he will directly fire Qin Yang. In the NBA, this happens a lot. Lynn Madness, who crossed the famous before, has signed short-term contracts with many teams. Qin Yang looked at the short-term contract handed over by Walker and took it smoothly. It doesn't matter, let's mix up food and clothing. Short-term contracts directly settle wages, this rule is very humane, they are too short of money, and they have to pay rent. Okay, Mr. Walker, I signed this short-term contract, is it still 10 days? Yes, it's 10 days, you do well, you can continue to play, don't perform well, wait for that guy from Dern to come back from injury, you know. Okay, Mr. Walker, I see what you mean. Qin Yang followed Walker to General Manager Foreman's office. In 2008, Foreman was the general manager of the Chicago Bulls, and all players were under his management. Foreman is very stylish in a suit and tie. Sitting at the desk, he looked down and studied something, without looking at Qin Yang squarely. Walker said a few words, and Foreman waved his hand and said, you can see that this short-term contract is done, I am working on a 5-year big contract for Derrick, and he handed it over to you. Yes, Mr. Foreman. Walker nodded, Foreman was too lazy to take care of Qin Yang, everyone knew it. It's just a short-term job, and there is no end to this fight. It's equivalent to a beggar on the street, who cares about a short-term job? This is the contract, you sign it, after signing, we will pay you. Walker said to Qin Yang. Qin Yang swiped a few strokes to sign his name. Then Walker called the financial assistant and paid Qin Yang's salary. For 10 days, the salary was shabby, about $105,000 US. This salary is very generous compared to a salaried position. However, compared to the general salary of NBA players, it is indeed too shabby. No way, the poor earn money, shudder. Receiving $105,000 from the team's financial assistant, Qin Yang turned around and went home. 10-day short-term contract, first finish and then talk. The Chicago Bulls don't want him, and he firmly believes that with his current competitive level and sky-defying basketball talent, going to any team will become a sweet potato. I found the landlord and paid the rent and bought some favorite fruits and vegetables and snacks. Until 8 o'clock in the evening of October 29, 2008, Qin Yang arrived at the United Center Arena on time. It was the Bulls' first game of the 08-09 season. It was also the first debut of champion Derrick Rose. The eyes of the whole world are all focused on Derrick Rose. No one paid attention to the presence of a junior center from the Dragons who joined the Chicago Bulls. At the United Center Arena, the Bulls host the Milwaukee Bucks. Before the game, the players from both sides warmed up for training, and Derrick Rose, wearing the number 1 shirt, appeared on the big screen. All the shots of the arena were brushed to Rose, magnifying his aura infinitely. At the same time, countless fans in Chicago stood and cheered. Since Jordan's retirement, Chicago has been silent for a full decade. Jordan won the next 3 straight championships and left the Bulls in 1998. It wasn't until today, 2008, 10 years later, that Chicago fans saw hope. And hope, naturally, was brought to them by Derrick Rose. So the moment Rose showed up at the United Center, the fans were enthusiastic and shouting Rose's name. The DJ who shouted "My" at the scene even told the world the name Derrick Rose. In the future, the Windy City Rose will be created by this man. Shouting, the fans noticed that something was wrong. Who was that tall purple-haired man standing in the corner? How come you've never seen it in the NBA again? What? Who is that tall man with purple hair? It seems that he has never met. Does anyone know him? Several white girls watching the ball on the sidelines pointed to Qin Yang's position. Qin Yang's 208 centimeters size is still obvious standing there. Wearing the number 9 Bulls jersey. Standing with his hands on his back, with long flowing purple hair, it is difficult not to attract the attention of others. It's so eye-catching. Is this against Rose? You can also drag a temporary worker like this? I heard that it is a short-term worker, from the ancient Eastern Dragon country. Dominator is injured, let him top it. A white man on the sidelines, perhaps to talk to a few girls, smiled and answered. This kind of rookie, there is no need to pay attention, our focus should be Derrick, not a rookie from the Dragon Kingdom. Shit, you're right, we focused on the wrong point, it turned out to be just a temporary worker. Several white girls shook their heads and stopped taking care of Qin Yang. Qin Yang doesn't care, he chose to join the Bull for a short time, just to mix salaries. If you can't play other teams. But one thing to say, the Bull gave him 10 days, and he thought it was enough. It's a springboard and an opportunity to express yourself. 10 days of explosive numbers, he didn't believe no team wanted him. I'll play Atsushi Zun, afraid of a yarn? Don't be intimidated, if you don't convince, just do it. Work until you become famous. Thinking like this in his heart, Qin Yang was relieved. When the game begins, he will single-handedly completely burst the inside of the Bucks. Episode 4. Not long after, the game officially started. The list of players from both sides was presented one by one on the big screen over the stadium under the shouts of the DJ master. The first appearance of the Bulls must be Windy City Rose, Derrick Rose. Qin Yang was the last to appear. He played the number 5, in order of number 1, and was also the last man. Besides, Dominator was not injured accidentally, and Qin Yang definitely couldn't play as a starter. Short-term players, the top shot is over. The Bulls management, including the Bulls fans, did not expect Qin Yang to play here for long. When the DJ shouted China Qin, countless fans looked at each other. What China Qin? Where did China Qin come from? Who is it? The fans in the back row stood up and scanned and saw Qin Yang with long purple hair. Oh my god, that guy is the so-called China Qin? What position does he play? It is said that playing the number 5 position, top Dingauden, Gooden accidentally sprained his ankle while training, and had to rest at home for a week. Oh, so that's the case, this height and tonnage hit the number 5, to be honest, it's a little unqualified, right? It's just a short-term job, looking forward to Dean's early return. Yes, I don't look good at this guy, it's hard to say if I can fight for 10 days. In the NBA league, no one is optimistic that an Asian will survive. Over the years, apart from the little giant Yao Ming, which Asian player can gain a foothold in the NBA? It can be said that there are almost none. So Bulls fans underestimated Qin Yang, which is reasonable. In the eyes of blacks and whites, Asians can just play with small balls. Basketball, football, and other big ball sports, Asians can't play. I think he should be more in table tennis than here to play basketball. Ha ha ha. Everyone laughed. Although this short-term job is of little use, it is quite good to use it as the top 5 jokes of the NBA. Okay, dear ladies and gentlemen, the first regular season game of the 08-09 season has officially started, and now is the time to jump in the middle circle. The commentators of this game are NBA legends Mike Blinn and Albert. The two old guys sat in the technical booth and set their eyes on the center circle of the pitch. The referee came holding the ball and signaled the players of both teams to stand up and wait for the scrum to begin. Qin Yang, as the temporary center of the Bulls, naturally needs to jump the ball. Omaga, let me see, are the Bulls strengthening on the inside? A guy with long purple hair suddenly appeared. Oh my god. Is he an Asian player? It's kind of interesting to see that the facial features are Asian, and the Bulls actually signed an Asian center. McBrien and Albert looked surprised. What's the Bulls messing with? How do you suddenly sign an Asian player? Do you think you didn't die fast enough? It is said that he is a short-term worker to replace Dingowden, who was accidentally injured. That's not the point is, this game, it's Derrick's debut, we need to take a closer look at this super god young man. Shit, you're right, our focus is wrong, it shouldn't be this Asian center, it's our talent, Derrick Rose. McBrien and Albert were quickly relieved. Steady. Don't focus on the crooked, Derrick Rose's debut, why talk about an Asian player? Ugh. Meanwhile, the referee threw the basketball into the air, and Qin Yang and Bucks center Andrew Te were responsible for the first ball fight. This is a 2005 champion, a foreign footballer born in Australia. Height 213 centimeters. Weight 118 kilograms. Andrew Te defends well, has a tough style, first-class blocking awareness, and has excellent passing ability. That is to say, the high position strategy is very good. Qin Yang vs. Andrew Te, no one thought that in the jump ball link, Qin Yang could compete for the ball in Te's hands. Haha, I can guarantee that Te will definitely burst this purple-haired monster. I also think so. Teiko was the top pick in 2005, although the personal data in these 3 years is not flashy, but against an Asian player. A few nagging fans in the front row did not finish. Suddenly, Qin Yang completely crushed Andrew Te in terms of bouncing power and judgment. The basketball thrown into the air by the referee was slightly picked up by Qin Yang and directly dialed to the Bulls camp. Oh my god. Is that purple-haired monster serious? He bounced so fiercely? There was an exclamation from the crowd. Incredible. As soon as the connoisseur makes a move, he knows if there is any. This. What kind of temporary worker can also blow up the sky like this? Oh. My god. Interestingly, the Bulls' new Asian center seems to be awesome. He actually took the ball above the head of the Te, McBrien shouted, looking surprised. They all thought that Qin Yang would be abused by Tai, but Qin Yang threw them a big ear on the spot. This ear is not painful, but it is loud enough. To paraphrase a famous internet saying in later generations, it is not very harmful, and it is extremely insulting. Protect the ball. Qin Yang shouted after jumping the ball. He is very good at English, and he grew up in Chicago, equivalent to half American, and speaks English very fluently. Derrick Rose picked up the ball and looked at Qin Yang for the first time. Originally, he had the same idea as the general public. It's just a temporary worker, how powerful can it be? It was completely Dingowden who was injured, and Qin Yang joined the Bulls in 10 days to replace the injured Guden. I never expected that this guy had something. The bounce is quite strong, not inferior to himself. Ross dribbled the ball forward with one hand and gave a thumbs up with the other. He now kind of recognizes the new teammate. The explosiveness and bounce are good, maybe you can play a little bit of residual heat in the game. Episode 5. Now that Derrick is holding the ball, is Derrick going to use speed and power to open the way and directly hit the basket? Albert stared at Ross, who was advancing with the ball. At the University of Memphis, Ross's breakthrough never slowed down. Akaniama's AE86 is no more than that. Very strong physical coordination. In his sophomore year, Ross was already invincible in the school. Tonight's NBA debut, the world is waiting for Rose's explosive performance. Sure enough. Ross charged with the ball. Extremely fast, no bells and whistles, just one step past you. Some people jokingly said that Ross is the James of the smaller one, accelerating and sprinting, and no one can stop him. This is indeed the case. Ross rode in the dust and threw Ramon Sessions, who was defending him, far away. Oh. Baby, incredible, Derrick took one step past Sessions, is this a crush in talent? Gloves Payton said an NBA quote, over you. It's like crossing the road early in the morning, Sessions faces Derrick, and that's the wide road. Haha. Derrick quickly pressed into the box, holding the ball 3 threats, the Bucks special mention came up to assist the defense, Derrick broke through without slowing down, and still charged into the box. Boom. Hands explode and buckle. Ross took a step past Ramon Sessions, who was in line with him. Facing the Bucks' internal defense, he directly ignored it and slammed his hands to end the round. Finished exploding? Ross's debut, earth-shattering. Talent is talent after all, and it can crush players who work hard all year round. If effort is useful, there is no such thing as talent. In the position of point guard, there are very few who can compete with Ross. After completing the big clasp of his hands, Ross's expression was calm. This guy is a little paralyzed and doesn't smile all day. Qin Yang, as a traverser, has a certain understanding of Ross's character. When I first joined the league, I was very old and mature, with a maturity that my peers did not have. Of course, it was a pity that it was injuries that ruined the talented teenager. Derrick. 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 Bulls fans were excited. The champion is the champion, and the ball is vigorous. It is true that the NBA also has selected parallel goods, but the 4 words, parallel goods, will never appear in Derrick Ross. Haha, we picked up the baby. Derrick is indeed outstanding. Rose made his debut, and several leaders of the Bulls management came to the joint center. Including the Bulls owner also came, watching the game in the VIP box upstairs. General Manager Foreman nodded. Yes, I have no problem with Derrick. He was born for the championship, and in the future, we have Derrick, a strong contender for the championship. As soon as the assistant heard Foreman's words, he immediately said, yes, Mr. Foreman, but I think that in terms of the inside, it is necessary to bring in reinforcements. This is a must, that is tall, not worthy of partnering Derrick, including Dungoodin is also a little worse. Foreman frowned in thought. If you want to win the championship, you have to strengthen the inside. Otherwise, it will be difficult for Ross alone to compete for the championship. Historically, the team that can win the championship is best paired inside and out. Like Jordan and Rodman, O'Neal and Kobe, Duncan, Parker, and Ginobili of the Spurs dynasty, known as the GDP combination. These teams, without exception, are strong inside and out. At least a certain balance must be reached, otherwise it will be easy to be targeted by various teams. Ross plays fiercely, but on his own, it is difficult to stand alone. Especially in the playoffs with real knives and guns, the defensive intensity is more fierce, and Rose himself is difficult to support. Yes, Mr. Foreman, that big tall man is here to be funny, he doesn't deserve it. The assistant habitually patted Foreman's. As a result, before he could finish speaking, the Bucks heard a muffled sound during the attack. 2005 champion Show Andrew Tay, facing Qin Yang dunk, was slapped by Qin Yang. Ignore whom? Who do you dunk in front of? Give me down, Qin Yang roared, sacrificed the skill-mad demon cap, and with a big hot pot cap, he flew Andrew T's dunk out. The power is unparalleled. Andrew Turian dribbled the ball and sat on the floor with his ass. Suddenly. The scene was shocking for a while. Everyone was stunned. This big tall man thought it was to be funny, the gangster's salary was earned, who would have thought that such a bull criticism? Special height is 213 centimeters, and his weight is also stronger than Qin Yang. It was very burly to watch, and as a result, he faced Qin Yang with a dunk and was slapped out by Qin Yang. The whole person sat on the floor in embarrassment. The 20,000 fans of the United Center were shocked. You look at me, I look at you, all of them are confused. After the stunned, there were cheers. This kind of hot pot cap is very good for the morale of the home team. Qin Yang's Mad Demon Seal, as well as the absolute defense of the forbidden area, is the iron barrel gate of the Bull team. Anyone who wants to score in the penalty area should first ask Qin Yang Tong if he or she agrees. My god. That big tall, his name is China Qin, right? Shit, he's fierce, is it really like you said? He's just a temp? Some fans couldn't help but question. This defensive awareness and traverse coverage can't just be a temporary worker, right? Damn, he's a real temp, but he's great defensively, and we've picked up a baby in Chicago again? Episode 6, the Bulls are on the bench. The one who shakes the towel, the one who guards the water dispenser, that's called a happy hee-hee. They all thought that this big tall man was a funny expert sent by the monkey, but the result was unexpected, and it seemed that the defensive ability was stronger than Dungoodin. You have a great sense of defense, are you really a short-term worker? Ross thought thoughtfully. He was a little confused. This sense of defense and ability cannot be a short-term job. What is a short-term job? Short-term workers come up to make up for the numbers. The team really couldn't find the right person, so they signed a few short-term workers to play. As the saying goes, short-term workers appear to make up the number of people. Hearing Ross's words, Qin Yang nodded slightly. Yes, Derrick, I have a short-term job for 10 days, what's wrong, damn. Rose shook his head. I think if you stay with the Bulls, you might be able to strengthen our defensive coverage. How are you attacking? Ross asked again. Qin Yang smiled slightly and said, if you pass me the ball, you will know how my attack is. Ross, He was immediately speechless. It seems that Qin Yang is reasonable. Don't pass the ball to others. How do you know what the level of attack is? Will the high block be demolished? We can try to play some 2v2 matching, Ross whispered. You come to help me block and dismantle in the high position, pull people out of the penalty area, and then you cut inside, I pass it to you, or if there is a chance, I will go directly myself. Don't look at Ross's paralyzed face all day, he has a very high ball quotient, not lower than Maddie, Kobe, and others. This tactic is relatively simple and is also an offensive strategy that works well. Of course. The premise is that the point guard must be excellent, have good dribbling skills, passing vision, and containment. Okay. Qin Yang gestured. Ross said he understood the high position blocking tactics. The great NBA blocking coach, Jerry Sloan, specializes in blocking tactics. Ross has a high ball quotient and his ball quotient is higher. In the host attribute board, Qin Yang's ball quotient value is 100, which is 30 points higher than the average of NBA players of 70. The two whispered and ran back to the front court to attack. After the baseline serve, Ross dribbled forward. Andrew T.E., who was capped by Qin Yang's hot pot just now, looked indignant. You are the top pick in 2005, in the NBA league, although he is not a big star, at least he is also a champion. A champion, but it was capped by a temporary worker hot pot. When this matter spread, what face did he take to return to Australia to meet his father and elder Jiangdong? Damn, that man, he's simply playing with fire. Andrew T. cursed, bowing to regain face on the defensive end. Meanwhile, the commentator Mike Blinn looked at Ross, who was dribbling forward, and said, now it's Derrick holding the ball again, just let us see an incredible scene. The temporary worker of the Bulls, that guy named China Qin, he actually blocked the dunk of Texas. Fortunately, basketball is out of bounds, or the Bucks' possession, and the Bucks temporarily lead the Bulls by 1 point with Michael Reed's three-pointer. Let's set our sights on the game at hand. Derrick holds the ball to the top of the arc, huh? That China Qin actually cooperated with Derrick in a high position. What do you say? Is he preparing to participate in the attack? It's really interesting, huh? A temporary worker, even participate in the attack. His defensive basic skills seem to be very solid. I don't know what the offensive level is. Derrick lowered the center of gravity, quickly broke through, and after blocking China Qin had a sense of running. This kid is quite good, he knows how to disassemble immediately after blocking, which helps the overall efficiency of the offensive end. Derrick is wrapped, what do you say? Passed. Derrick's wide passing vision was used to the extreme, giving China Qin who cut inside the position. It seems that Derrick believes in this temporary worker. How exactly are the two going to fight? Derrick attracted the United defense to throw the ball to China Qin, and China Qin to take a step further from the free throw line. Buckle, what? What? One step in the free throw line, and this temp jumps and dunks? Oh my god. Oh, god. What the hell is he trying to do? Is he so confident in his bouncing? McBrien and Albert's eyes widened and they spoke extremely quickly. Because of the rapid changes on the court, Ross and Qin Yang's running positions cut in quickly. As a last resort, the two old guys could only speed up their explanation. The 20,000 fans of the United Center witnessed Qin Yang and Ross playing a wonderful cooperation. After the high block, the in the penalty area was pulled out. Then Ross crushed the Bucks inside in speed, and Qin Yang on the other side cut inside. Ross, who encountered the joint defense bag, was not greedy and immediately passed the ball to Qin Yang. Qin Yang cut inside and ran to the free throw line a step in, and he was already jumping and dunking. His bounce value is 90, and the average NBA player bounce value is 75. In the position of center, Qin Yang is the most fierce in bouncing, and no one dares to question it. Taking a step forward from the free throw line, Qin Yang jumped up abruptly. Grabbing the basketball that Ross passed to him with one hand, he soared like wings and flew over the paint area. And then slammed the basketball into the basket. In an instant, the United Arena seemed to shake. This moment, the audience was silent. The same question mark pops up in everyone's head. Is this guy really just a temp? Episode 7. Oh, baby, God-level dunk. Just now, in the entire arena, it was advertised everywhere that China Qin was just a short-term job for the Bulls. Can any of you tell me the truth, this horrible guy is really just a short-term job? If I were the owner of the Bulls, I would be eager to pump myself 2 mouths. How could this kind of talented center be stupid enough to only sign on a short-term contract? Lau Mei's commentary, with laughter and passion. As soon as the American humor spoke, it immediately amused the countless fans present. Bulls owner Jerry Reinsdorf sat upstairs in the VIP box, watching the game. Vaguely hearing McBlin and Albert's explanation, he couldn't help but be happy. The junior center firm does have 2 brushes. How can this kind of player only use short-term contracts perfunctory? Does that guy want to continue as general manager? Foreman, this oriental teenager with long purple hair, is it sure that it is a short-term contract? Jerry Reinsdorf dialed Foreman's phone. Dear Mr. Jerry, is. That is true. Foreman felt a hint of the boss's anger and was so frightened that he stuttered. Shit, are you kidding me? His performance in these 2 rounds cannot be perfunctory with only short-term contracts. Jerry Reinsdorf said squarely, you like this. Continue to observe this teenager from. If he plays well and can contribute to the team, renew his contract immediately. I don't care what way you use. To satisfy him, we signed this man completely. Besides, signing players is not a loss for us. Does Yao from Houston know? Because of Yao's existence, Team Rocket has guaranteed overseas ratings and overseas jersey sales, so Qin this person, we must get it. Of course, the premise can't be too bad, at least you can see it, you should be able to understand what I mean. Yes, I understand what you mean, dear Mr. Jerry. Foreman nodded hurriedly. He himself was confused. A 10-day short-term worker, to be able to have this performance, to be honest, is very paradoxical. Traded to Dungoodin, the salary is about $5 million a year. Compared with this short-term worker, I feel panicked. Dungoodin is at both ends of the offensive and defensive ends, and it seems that he is not as good as this kid. Mr. Foreman, is it the boss's call? Walker asked. Yes. Foreman nodded, give you a task, and recently carefully observed this young center from to see if this is his normal level or an unreliable nerve knife player. I know there are a lot of guys who perform very well in one game, and then they will show up in their original form, and if this kid from is a genius, then get him at all costs. Okay, I see, Mr. Foreman. Walker nodded hurriedly. Nerve knife player, representative in the NBA league, Nick Young is counted as one, and J.R. Smith is also counted as one. These 2 people, one game is particularly bullish, more often sleepwalking on the court and collapsing. If Qin Yang plays steadily, every game can bring contributions to the team. Then the Bull management will get Qin Yang at all costs. Jerry Reinsdorf's call with Foreman is unknown to outsiders. The on-field game went on as usual. Andrew Mutt also wants to regain face on the defensive end. Just now, he was slapped away by Qin Yang's big hot pot cap. He thought to himself, as long as Qin Yang attacked this round, he would definitely use his housekeeping skills to return to color. As a result, Ross attracted the bad clip and contained it to the extreme. Feed the cake to Qin Yang. The NBA's pie king will be Qin Yang in the future, right? Professional cake eater? However, Andrew was still shocked. This boy, is there still a spring sandwiched in the pie? Eat bread, why not eat springs by the way? If you don't eat springs, why is bouncing so bullish? The spring people of the NBA, there is one, there is no Qin Yang perverted. Has anyone ever seen a center jump and dunk one step down the free throw line? Those who can make this extreme dunk move are some small forward, shooting guard, or point guard. For example, Jordan, Kobe, Maddie, Carter, James, these bulls. Among the point guards, Ross and Wilson may be able to do it. The center makes this kind of extreme dunk, except for Qin Yang's pervert, the NBA is unique. The center has a large tonnage and a large waist, which is not suitable for playing a flowing attack. And move slowly. However, Qin Yang is an alternative. Not only is the attack flowing, but it's also bursting. A free throw line step in the dunk, shocking the past and the present. Ross and his teammates all stared at Qin Yang as if they were looking at aliens. This guy is amazing. Bouncing is really cattle, and if you don't obey, you can't. Hey. Man, if you are a short-term worker, then we will have to lose our jobs. Your defensive ability and offensive ability are very good. Bull shooting guard, Ben Gordon, looked at Qin Yang with a complicated expression. At this level, is it only a short-term job? Ariki has heavenly reason? It must have been Foreman's head that was clamped by the door panel, otherwise it would not have been possible to do such a lack of virtue. Noah nodded on the side. Ben is right, if you are only a short-term worker, then we can indeed lose our jobs. Fortunately the Dominator guy is not there. If he is on the scene, he will not have the face to take his $5 million salary. Haha. Small forward Raul Dang laughed. Dungoodin was traded to Chicago for a salary of $5 million a year. Although he earns a salary of $5 million, he is not as good as a short-term worker at the competitive level. When word spreads about this, Dungoodin can find a piece of tofu to kill it. Only Ross didn't speak, he didn't like to joke very much. Just stared at Qin Yang quietly. Suddenly, a crazy idea came out. If Qin Yang had stayed in the Bulls, perhaps he would be able to surpass the magician John Sun. In the rookie season, together with Qin Yang, win the highest honor, the O'Brien Cup. Episode 8. You're great, keep up the good work. Ross said calmly. The expressionless look feels a bit pretend 13, but this is Ross, who disdains to hide himself, the guy of true temperament. Okay, thank you for your encouragement. Qin Yang smiled indifferently. In the following time, Ross and Qin Yang controlled the rhythm of the game together. At the beginning of the century, the Bucks were not a strong team, and their record has been broken. Unlike the Alphabet Brothers in later generations, he won the second O'Brien Cup since the establishment of the team. And there is a saying. Qin Yang didn't have a good impression of the Bucks, because this season, they had just traded a Dragon Country player. He is none other than Yi Jianlian. In 2007, the UAE was selected by the Milwaukee Bucks with the 6th pick in the first round. Perhaps sensing that the UAE was not playing well, Bucks management did not hesitate to trade the UAE this year. So playing a Buck, Qin Yang has no good feelings. Isn't the UAE who bullies our loyalty? You rest assured that the Bucks have brought you shame, and the brothers avenge you. The first quarter of the game is over. The Bulls played a wave of 6-0 mini-climax through a strong internal and external linkage. 25:20. The Bulls led the Bucks by 5 points and entered the second quarter. At the beginning of the second quarter, Ross found a mobile phone at a 45-degree angle on the left and hit a mid-range shot. Ross, who was a rookie, was not good at mid-range shooting. But he found that Qin Yang's blocking was of high quality, completely blocking Ramon Sessions, who was defending him firmly on the perimeter. The Bucks, on their part, did not follow up in time for the joint defense. Seeing this situation, Ross did not hesitate, otherwise he would not be able to resist the dismantling that Qin Yang gave him. At a 45-degree angle on the left, China Qin blocked for Derrick. This block is of high quality. Ramon Sessions was completely blocked by China Qin. Derrick made a decisive move. Bang! Derrick did not live up to China Qin's blocking and hit this goal. I found that Derrick and China Qin fought more and more competently. Oh my god! This is just the first game between the two of them, and the first game is so tacit understanding. This is really terrifying for the newcomer. I'm boldly sure that this season, if China Qin stays with the Bulls and Team Derrick, the results of the two of them will be at least the Eastern Conference semifinals. The pattern is small, old iron. Albert looked at Mike Blinn, who was speaking. Of course, Americans don't understand what old iron means. But the approximate meaning, that's it. Albert said seriously, I'm sure, China Qin plays steadily, don't be that kind of nerve knife player. He teamed up with Derrick, the two can at least reach the Eastern Conference finals. Don't believe, how about we make a bet? Oh? What to bet? McBrien was intrigued. How about we bet on donuts? Albert showed an intriguing bad smile. If you lose, please go to the convenience store and buy me a box of donuts back, and if I lose, buy it for you. Ha ha ha. McBlinn was amused by Albert. Okay, I'll bet on you. The two old guys talked and laughed, and the situation on the field changed rapidly. The Bulls played a fluid offense, and the Bucks weren't to be outdone. Ball carrier Ramon Sessions, who changed direction through his crotch dribble to throw off Ross, then rushed into the inside and threw a shot from short and medium distance. Qin Yang looked at it. This Nima can endure? Lao Tzu is absolutely defensive in the restricted area. Can you let a small defender come in and go wild? Fuck off, you. Qin Yang shouted angrily, and his figure jumped high. As Ross said, Qin Yang standing on the inside line is the absolute tower of the Bulls. It's hard for anyone to come in. Absolute defense of the restricted area. While jumping, he slapped it. This Nima is not basketball, this is clearly playing volleyball. Snap. Ramon Sessions' short and medium range throw was slapped by Qin Yang and flew out. You guys can score if you want, get me out of the paint zone. This piece of the paint area is Qin Yang's world. Speaking of little guard Sessions, you are O'Neal coming in, and you have to lie on my stomach. Oh. Haha, China Qin. It's China Qin again. His defensive coverage is too big, the traverse speed is also very fast, and Sessions' throwing is blocked by China Qin. Ball. Take care to protect the ball. Qin Yang's slap was very powerful, and it flew out, and happened to land on top of Ben Gordon's head. Ben Gordon rushed to secure the ball, and it was an effective defensive counterattack. Follow up. Follow up quickly, attack quickly, fight back. Bulls head coach Winnie DeNegro, standing on the sidelines, yelled. Without him beeping, the Bulls have seen this as a great defensive counterattack. Under normal circumstances, there is nothing to do with the center under the fast attack. After all, the center needs to be in position, stand in the box under the basket, and move slowly, and can't keep up with the speed of smaller players. But, Qin Yang is different. After sealing Ramon Sessions, he runs faster than a rabbit. It is estimated that the defenders are not as fast as him, throwing off the two long legs, and running is called a cheerful one. Suddenly, Ben Gordon, who was holding the ball, turned his head and looked. Good guy, this buddy is running so fast. My bedroom is on fire, and I can't run as fast as you. Pass. Qin Yang shouted, and Ben Gordon subconsciously passed the ball to Qin Yang. Qin Yang held the ball. Don't care if you are 3'7" Lao Tzu went directly up. For the sake of data, for a lot of US dollars, work until the sky is wasted. A proper data brush, that is, a player like Qin Yang. Boom. Holding the ball, arriving at the Bucks' penalty area, Qin Yang sacrificed Ziyu and Dun's ultimate big move, the Iron Hammer of Destruction. The slender figure spins in the air and gracefully dunks the basketball into the basket. Episode 9, Qin Yang's Buckle. Her long flowing purple hair swayed in the wind. For a while, it was quite a cool style of the American Beatles. Before the opening, several white girls who had complained about Qin Yang suddenly showed a hint of surprise. A moment later, a little girl with a plump figure, delicate and deep facial features, and big royal blue eyes muttered, "I couldn't see it before, this guy from the Eastern Dragon country is still very man. Wow, Arya, shouldn't you have a heart for an Oriental man?" The sister next to her spoke, teasing the little white sister who called Arya. "Humph. Yes, and how? I haven't found an Oriental boyfriend yet, so try the novelty." "Omeka, you are also right, I support you in doing this. The little girls in Western countries are just open." In other words, the girl of the Dragon Kingdom said ironcladically and reservedly, I didn't, it's your spring heart, right? Your whole family is in full swing." Qin Yang didn't know that he sacrificed Ziyu and Dun's Iron Hammer of Destruction, and immediately gained the hearts of countless girls. Back-to-back field defense. Ross, Luo Erding, and Noah's teammates took the initiative to high-five Qin Yang to celebrate. That's how the Americans are. Probably because of Hollywood blockbusters, they have been particularly advocating personal heroism since childhood. Qin Yang's attack and defense were all completed separately. The teammates suddenly revered Qin Yang, which was also reasonable. "Omeka. My god, you guy must not be our blue star, you are so cool." Noah whispered, "Dude, don't leave Chicago in the future, promise us, you continue to fight according to this competitive level. I firmly believe that Foreman Guy will definitely take the initiative to find you to renew his contract." "Yes Gene, stay in Chicago in the future, we won't treat you as a short-term worker, you are our patron saint, you play fantastically." Roar Dang followed. Qin Yang smiled and said, "Stay or go, this is not my personal decision, if the bull does not want me, I can only think of other ways." "My god, even if you leave the Bulls and promise us not to go to the Celtics and Lakers, these two teams are strong enough. If you go to these two teams, the whole league will be abused by you." Haha. Qin Yang snorted and didn't answer again. In 2008, the Lakers and Celtics were indeed strong. As a crosser, Qin Yang also knew in advance that this season's championship was the Lakers. And in the 07-08 season, the Lakers unfortunately lost the league's earliest Big Three, the iron-blooded Green Army. Wolf King Garnett, Truth Pierce, Marksman Ray Allen. The three of them defeated the Los Angeles Lakers led by Kobe Bryant and Gasol on the stage of this summer's finals to win last season's championship. But now, I have to do something to travel back to this era. Just pondering, the Bucks offense came. Ramon Sessions did not have the ball this time, and the ball carrier was replaced by shooting guard Michael Reed. This guy's data is quite gorgeous, but unfortunately, there has been no star look. That is, there is no fire life. Last season, he averaged 20.6 points, 3.81 rebounds, 2.67 assists, 0.06 blocks, and 1.07 steals. Just look at this data, the proper Bucks are in charge. However, not many people know the name Michael Reed. His life is not good, admittedly called Michael, but not Jordan's life. Michael Reed is a player who can shoot well and is very difficult to deal with. Holding the ball outside the three-point line, he stepped past Ben Gordon, who was in position, and hit a mid-range jump shot. He didn't rush into the paint area, because he wasn't stupid, and he saw that the tall purple-haired man who had just arrived from the Bulls was fierce in his defense ability. And the coverage area is wide, and the traverse speed is fast. His small body rushed into the forbidden area, which was to brush data for Qin Yang. Dare to ask what data to brush? Cap +1, of course. The Bucks hit the basket with outside shooters and were not defeated by the Bulls for a while. Throughout the second quarter, the Bucks were desperately chasing points. They found that the internal and external combination of Ross and Qin Yang, despite being rookie players, cooperated very tacitly. Ross also often fed Qin Yang the ball, making Qin Yang super comfortable. With 15 seconds left in the second quarter, the Bulls held the ball. This is equivalent to the last attack. Ross controls the field, presses the rhythm, runs out of time, in or out, depending on this final blow. Qin Yang's basket fell into position and did not help Ross block it again. Rhythmic, Ross looked up at the timer, with the last 5 seconds left. He took the speed to attack, followed closely by Ramon Sessions, preventing Ross from easily entering the interior. We all know that Ross broke through bravely, and when playing the NCAA, Ross's breakthrough was very fearful to opponents. Stop him, don't let him rush into the inside line easily. Bucks head coach Scott Skiles yelled, "United! Raise it up for joint defense." Michael Reed was about to put forward the joint defense, but Ross blatantly struck. Mid-range, flowing jumper. Boom. Unfortunately, the ball didn't go in. After all, Ross in his rookie season is not a qualified shooter. Jumping ability was only gradually developed by Ross after entering his second year in the NBA. Damn it. Unfortunately, the last attack on Derrick hit the iron. It seems that Derrick still has weaknesses, and his jump shooting ability is a little worse. However, it seems that it doesn't matter, there are rebounds inside. China Qin grabbed the front court rebound, make up the dunk. Oh my god. China Qin is really omnipotent, he actually scored the ball on top of the Tay head. It's still a whistle, I like him so much about this big tall. The commentators Mike Bullen and Albert confessed Qin Yang in the air. Qin Yang, who was placed on the inside, saw Ross strike iron, and immediately used the skill, Heavenly God rebound. A whistle to help the Bulls score 2 more points. Sadly urged Andrew T.E., this is the second time he has been humiliated by Qin Yang in this game. Episode 10, Qin. Nice, good rebound. Ross walked to Qin Yang's side, and the more he looked at this tall man in the East, the more satisfied he was. Isn't this an indispensable interior gate in the championship territory? With Qin Yang, the champion of the Bulls came out. Head coach Vinny DeNegro also recognized Qin Yang's performance. But one thing he couldn't figure out, the seemingly powerful inside gate, why did Foreman only give short-term contracts? Was the head kicked by a donkey? I have time to talk to Fuman, this big tall man from the Dragon Kingdom is good, and I have to renew my contract to sign him. Pooh DeNegro muttered softly. Okay boys, hard work for you. In the first game of the new season, we played very well, especially Qin and Derrick. The exquisite cooperation of the two of you gave me hope of winning. So, I'm looking forward to the next online performances for both of you. Hearing this, Ross nodded. Okay Coach Pooh, we will work hard. At halftime, Vinny DeNegro laid out his tactics. Time flew by quickly, and the third quarter started right away. The current score is 55-47, with the Bulls leading the Bucks by 8 points. The second half kicked off with the Bucks playing a small 4-0 run. Spotter Michael Reed, as well as small forward Richard Jefferson, hit key jumpers. The Bulls look at it and want to fight back? Inexistent. Inside the penalty area, Qin Yang stretched out his arm and wanted to catch the ball. He has a physical confrontation rating of 110 and an NBA average of 85, including guards. But the physical confrontation of 110 can already allow Qin Yang to beat a number of excellent insiders. His strength was extremely great, and his violent true chi seemed to spread all around him. The power of the big purple potato always shocks Andrew T.E. Feeling Qin Yang's extraordinary, he did not flinch, because in this game, he was humiliated by Qin Yang twice. This time the Iron must take revenge, otherwise others will call him a soft egg. Commentator Albert carefully observed every detail on the field and noticed that Qin Yang and Special were competing with each other. Immediately said, on the line of the penalty area, China Qin and Tay have been competing with each other. Look at the position. China Qin is this ready to hold the ball and play singles? In the first half of the game, although China Qin also participated in the attack, it was all some cake balls, or a fast attack under the block. China Qin's back singles technique, we still have no way of knowing. Let's see, in what way will China Qin end up tie? McBlin took the stubble. Derrick also knew that China Qin was going to eat alone on the inside, so he had a tacit understanding, hoisted the ball high and passed it to China Qin. China Qin holds the ball and faces the basket with his back to the basket. Oh. My god, I feel like China Qin is a monster in the first dribble. This guy's upper and lower limb strength are very strong. Asterisk asterisk how to prevent it? If you can't prevent it, just admit it, don't hit the swollen face and fill up the fat. Knock knock. Meanwhile, Qin Yang dribbled the ball with his back, and the basketball hit the floor, making a muffled sound. Suddenly, that aura that only Qin Yang could feel was even more fierce. This is the breath that belongs to Atsushi Zun. Dribble, turn, jump, and dunk with both hands, all in one go. Andrew T.E. couldn't resist Qin Yang's Ling Ran attack at all. The man who plays Atsushi Zun, holding the ball on the inside in singles, how can a little be able to block it? Boom. Click. 2 voices came, and Qin Yang domineeringly rode Andrew T.E. Subsequently, people noticed something was wrong. Basket racks. What is the situation with the basket rack? Squeaky and crunching, it seems to be going to pour. Be careful. The basket seems to be going to fall. What? Everyone was shocked. What a monster. The first time you singled with the ball in the low post, the basket collapsed? The eyes of the 20,000 fans on the court all looked at the basket rack that was dunked by Qin Yang. It was indeed shaking, booming, and the basket rack completely collapsed. The tempered glass shattered and fell to the floor, crisp and loud. Fuck. This is a pain, Andrew TT. Before he could react, he was smashed on his back by the falling tempered glass. hurriedly ran away so that he was not injured. And Qin Yang ran faster, and after he turned around and rode he noticed that this basket frame was not strong. In my mind, I couldn't help but think that Atsushi Murasakibara smashed the basket rack abruptly when he singled the Vulcan Bigme. As soon as this thought came up, Qin Yang ran away. Click. The basket fell completely to the floor. Suddenly, everyone's eyes were all on Qin Yang. Freak. Desperate freaks. This guy is fierce. In his first debut, he collapsed the basket. O'Neal was so awesome when he was young, and he didn't say that he would smash the basket on the first day he entered the NBA. And all this was done by a young center from the Eastern Dragon Kingdom. He successfully smashed the basket and was the second man after O'Neal to smash the basket in the NBA. Omega. My god, this can't be, what kind of freak is he? Turn around and ride the buckle, and dry the basket. Shaq, he's Shaq possessed. This young man is so ruthless. McBlin and Albert were thrilled. Enough. Passionate enough. For a moment, tens of thousands of people in the arena all captured the shadow of young O'Neal on Qin Yang.